Yesterday, I went on a little trip to Galveston, Texas with my college organization, one of them. We left at around 8 a.m. yesterday and came back at around midnight. For context, we all go to Texas A&M University, and so the drive there was around 2 hours and 30 minutes, and then on the way back, we had a couple pit stops on the way there and on the way back. So I guess you could say it was 2 hours and 45 minutes to 3 hours both ways. So a total of 6 hours of driving. Thank God I wasn't driving. But it was a really fun trip. We basically had a beach day the entire day at Galveston. If you don't know this, Galveston water is pretty fucking chopped. It's extremely dirty. So I didn't even bother going into the water. I'm someone who gets sick pretty easily, I'd say. It's gotten better in the past year or so, but before that, used to get sick pretty frequently, and so just naturally I'm more prone to avoiding situations that I think are gonna make me get sick. So I didn't end up going in the water, but in the sand we were playing football, we were playing soccer and spike ball until someone ended up breaking the spike ball, the little trampoline net thing, because they fell on it. So that was really funny. But yeah, other than that, the main point of this video is to talk about a question I was asked on the car ride back. So I was in a car ride with four other people. These people have been in the org for a decent amount of time, but there's probably around 50 people in a mid-sized college organization, so you don't really get to know everyone. But for this trip, the car assignments were randomly assigned, so I was conveniently assigned with people I had never really spoken to or had the opportunity to build a relationship with, a personal relationship with. And so we were kind of forced to do that because we were in a car together for 6 hours yesterday. And these people, surprisingly, are people that I clicked with very easily. And we were on similar vibes, similar humor, similar personalities. So it was a very good experience overall. And so on the way to Galveston, we were just talking about the usual things, getting to know each other. And I mean, since we had to do that for like 3 hours, on the way back, we started having a lot more deeper questions being asked. And one of the questions that was asked was, do you believe in soulmates? Like, do you believe that everyone on planet Earth has their one soulmate? And everyone kind of gave their answers. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. There wasn't really much debate, but I think I personally liked the answer that I gave, so I'm going to share it with you in today's video. And so, again, the question was asked, do you believe in soulmates? And so I answered with yes and no. And let me explain, right? So I believe, first of all, that God can't give you what you want on a silver platter. Like, He can't just have a plate of everything in the world that you could possibly want and just give it to you just because you pray or whatever. But He can give you the opportunities for you to go out and get it yourself. And so I think everyone's life, everyone's story is already written out, set in stone, but I think there are different versions of everyone's lives, depending on how many of those opportunities that God gives them that they act on, that they jump on. So, for example, right, let's say I have, for simplicity of this example, let's say I have three versions of my story of my life. The first version slash story is me, let's say just right now, me at the most disciplined version of myself. I jump at every single uncomfortable opportunity that I'm given. I am attempting to speak to more girls, approaching more girls, even though it's extremely fucking uncomfortable. And I basically have never done it before ever in my life, and I'm just starting to. I'm doing all these things. And so my soulmate in this life, how I'm acting on these opportunities, will be different than my soulmate that I end up getting in another life. Like, for example, since I'm in this life right now and I'm cold approaching literally every single girl that I find attractive, I have more of a chance to find my soulmate that is more aligned with who I am in this life. So I'm probably going to find a girl who is also disciplined, who is also comfortable at jumping at uncomfortable opportunities, who goes to the gym, who is very goal oriented because that's how I am as well. And so in this life, depending on how I act, depending on the opportunities I choose to take up, I'm going to get my soulmates in that way. So that's the yes part of the question, right? Another yes part of the question is the second version of my life, the second story of my life that is already completely set in stone, just depending on how many opportunities I take. But let's say this second story of my life, I'm a little bit more laid back, right? I'm maybe okay with living an average life. Maybe I'm not even posting on social media. I'm just in college to get a 9 to 5 and then work for 40, 50 years and then retire for 5 to 10 years and then die, right? Very average lifestyle. I'm not really jumping at any uncomfortable opportunities. Let's say I meet a girl at the bar and then she ends up becoming my wife and I kind of just settle on settling with her, even though maybe she isn't my dream girl. That would be my soulmate in that life. Because in my previous life, when I was cold approaching literally every single girl, I had more options, therefore, I had the opportunity to choose my dream girl. But in this second life, where I'm not as disciplined, where I'm not jumping at as many opportunities, I'm going to find my soulmate in this second life that's aligned with who I am in the second life. So the soulmate from the second life is going to be different than the soulmates in the first life. And it all comes down to me, right? Depending on how I navigate through my life, my soulmate is going to find me in whatever life I'm in and whatever story I choose to live, right? And so let's say I end up getting a girl who also works a 9 to 5. Maybe she's my coworker, or maybe again, she's just someone I met at the bar on a Friday night because I'm someone who looks forward to Friday nights, of course, because I'm working a 9 to 5. I probably somewhat hate my life, right? But it's okay. I'm making decent money, maybe close to 6 figures, right? Very average life. So I'm going to attract a very average girl. But me in that life would consider that girl as my soulmate. So those are the two yeses of the question. And so the third life, right? Let's say in this life, I am definitely a lot worse than the second life to where I was just average. This life, I'm a complete fucking bum. I'm a complete loser. I play video games all day. I eat junk food. I live with my parents even when I'm older, like 30 years old. I don't even give a single shit about my social life. I don't even talk to a single girl. And so I think in that life, because I'm not jumping at the opportunities that God is giving me, that God has blessed me with, I'm not going to find my soulmate in that life, let alone just a girl in general, right? Because I'm not even talking to girls. So why would I be able to find a girl? I really hope this is all making sense. I really hope I'm explaining it well. But I guess to put it simply, in its most simplest form, actions have consequences, right? Depending on the way you act, the way you navigate your life, you're going to get a consequence in accordance to the way you act. So again, right, in the first life, I acted and navigated my life through a completely different way, a more disciplined way. And so I get a soulmate in accordance to that. And what I consider currently my dream girl, the dream girl that I want. In my second life, I don't really choose to go out of my comfort zone, living a very average life. And so I'm going to get my soulmates according to that life. And then my third life, where I'm a complete fucking loser, I'm probably not even going to get a girlfriend or a wife or let alone a soulmate, right? So it just all comes down to the way you choose to act and navigate your life. So that was something that I wanted to share. I think this has been a little bit different than my usual long form content, but honestly, I liked it a little bit more because it was a story that I had to tell about a good experience that I had with some friends that I pretty much just got to know yesterday. And again, we had a very deep conversation with questions, a bunch of questions just like this. And I wanted to share my 2 cents on it. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I love you, genuinely. I'll see you next time.